Hello and welcome to another short video with charts, and in this video we're gonna have a look at the so-called new kid on the block, which is the narrative that has been circulating over all social networks and people repeating it all over and over without actually verifying what actually happened yesterday, because yesterday we had a strong drop across crypto and especially altcoins. Bitcoin didn't really drop that much, but Ethereum dropped to last year's summer lows, 2100, briefly. And we have the narrative that I keep seeing all over and over again, just like this guy here, Gordon. This is a viral tweet, of course. I always care about viral tweets. And he's basically saying we just had the biggest liquidations event in the history of crypto. And on top of that, because everybody's complacent today, on top of that, he's arrogant, saying that the reply guy, which means that he's predicting that the replies he's gonna get will be that the dump hasn't even started yet. So basically, he is arrogantly complacent, saying that people will be bearish, when in fact they perhaps should be bearish. This is the magic here, that the complacency means that everybody's gonna be arrogantly trying to tell you that you should buy back in, because we are bullish, and you are stupid if you're not buying the dip, and because everybody's bearish. Look around. This is exactly what I've been predicting and what I've been talking to you about, that this is what's gonna follow and this is what's happening. And indeed, there are tons of articles about that the yesterday's event was the biggest liquidation in crypto history. This is from Binance Square, but there have been a lot of articles that I saw. I'm not sure if they copy each other, but when you look at the data from CoinGlass, for example, because it's not that easy to find a good history of the liquidations in a crypto space that is related, that is concerning the total, all the cryptocurrencies, because there is lots of charts that show you Bitcoin liquidations in the past, but not the total. And the Bitcoin really didn't liquidate that much yesterday, not at all. So, and right here, you can see, because this chart is going back as far as the El Salvador Bitcoin legal tender launch. If you remember, all the way in 2021, that was a huge narrative back then. And basically, after it launched on 7th of September, we had actually very strong liquidations, and that was here recorded a 2.35 billion. 2.35 billion, okay? Now, CoinGlass recorded yesterday the liquidations of 1.25 billion. So it's just half. It's just half, people. Just half of what was a couple of years ago. And this liquidation event of the El Salvador legal tender launch was not as large as was the May 2021, which is not recorded here on CoinGlass. These articles that people copy-paste and just reproduce and just say that this is the fact, they speak about 2.2 billion being liquidated. And I would say, I'm not sure what data feed these articles rely upon, but even this 2.2 billion liquidated is basically still less than the El Salvador. Even if that would be true, even if CoinGlass has it wrong, even though the El Salvador legal tender launch has still more liquidations, and on top of that, May 2021 was much bigger liquidation. So it was not the biggest. It was not even a close being the biggest. And not even during this cycle, I'm afraid it was the biggest. According to the CoinGlass, we had bigger liquidations even on 9th of December. And I remember that. And 9th of December, I can show it to you on the chart. We can have a look at total free or total, whatever you prefer. And basically 9th of December, I'm gonna show it on 4-hourly candles. 9th of December was basically this thing here. And I remember that these liquidations were really massive, and I do believe that these liquidations were bigger than yesterday's. because of the funding fees. I'm going to show you how the funding fees look like. For instance, on this chart, this is a good chart. And right here, you can see when you extend this, you can see how the funding fees looked like before the 9th of December. This is for Bitcoin. And then they flattened, and how they look like 2 days ago. The funding fees were already neutral 2 days ago, okay? Let's have a look at Ethereum, okay? Because Ethereum really, yesterday. So yeah, Ethereum really went into a very negative funding fees yesterday. So that's true, people really, it was a shocker. I do not deny it was a large liquidation event, okay? I do not deny that. But again, just look at the 9th of December. Look at these fat funding fees, like Ethereum, everybody was maxed out Ethereum, kind of, before the 9th of December's liquidations. So my point, what I'm making to you guys is that this is actually not true news, or whoever tells you that yesterday was the biggest liquidation event in the crypto history, just like this guy here, is basically being complacent, and he's trying to manipulate you into being complacent as well. Not consciously perhaps, but still the same. And I'm going to close this video with just projecting of what to expect, okay? So again, this liquidation event was really larger for altcoins, so I believe that we should have a look at total 2 and or maybe total 3 in that regard, but let's have a look at total 2. So basically what happened on the 9th of December was that after the liquidations we had a strong recovery, you know, immediately, and we had a strong recovery as well yesterday already, but we did come back, and not only we did come back lower. And that's, I think, what's going to happen this time as well. So for the total 2, I would project we are going below 1 trillion. I would project we are going to 220 billion perhaps. And if you look at the Ethereum, what that would actually mean that Ethereum is going to fall below the last year low. And that is indeed a shocker. A shocker for all the altcoiners. Because Bitcoin at the same time, if this happens, if you are going to come back and even push a bit lower, then Bitcoin should actually not even go below 80,000. You know, and perhaps just go perhaps like below 85,000 or so. I don't know, somewhere there. So, and also you can, when you have a look at the Bitcoin dominance, it as well, it was massive yesterday, massive spike, 64%. If you look at the grand scheme of things on Bitcoin dominance, I can even turn on my drawings. So I don't want to go that much deep into this because I already actually covered lots of the Bitcoin dominance is a slow chart, so you need to cover it, or I need to cover it only once per few months. That's really enough. And I've already talked about it basically 6 months ago during the summer in my presentation. And what's happening there is that basically there was a super trend line that basically we fell from it during the late 2016, early 2017, which was definitely an altcoin super cycle. And then that trend line was basically a top. We rebounded from it the last cycle, but we made higher low. Okay, we made higher low. This is higher. Okay, and this is the high from the previous cycle. So what I'm speculating here is that we should make higher high, and if not in this cycle, because at the same time we are flattening. You know, this is an obvious flattening. So what could also happen, that something like this is going to happen as well, that it could be actually in the next cycle, But what I'm speculating what I'm speculating here, sorry, is that we are going to make actually higher high sometime in the future. It's becoming more and more obvious as well with this Q1's altcoins performance to me, because altcoins are having historically the strongest quarter, which is Q1, and they're just not doing it, actually. They're just not moving. And on top of that, they're being weaker and weaker during the time when they're supposed to be strong. So, yeah. And also, I would like to also say that there is a parallel channel. As you can see, this blue, the parallel channel which connects the bottom from the previous cycles. And I drew the top, basically connects the top from the previous cycle. And there is also one patch from 2017 as well. It was a rebound. So I would bet that this parallel channel is going to be respected. And again, sometime in the future, this upper bound of the parallel channel is really is showing 75% dominance plus. This is a weekly closes. It's connecting weekly closes. So of course there can be wick above that. But yeah, that's about it, what I wanted to cover. Thank you for your attention, and I'll talk to you again.